After breaking my back organizing my mom's retirement party, I overheard her whispering to my uncle, "I wish she'd stop trying so hard. She's still a disappointment." I stood in the kitchen, holding a tray of sandwiches I had made at 3 a.m., feeling like a fool. 2 years later, when she needed a caretaker, every single one of them was too busy, except the daughter she thought wasn't good enough. I'm not even sure why I'm writing this. Maybe I just need to get it out. Maybe I'm still angry. Maybe both. 2 years ago, I planned my mother's retirement party. And when I say planned, I don't mean I helped. I mean I did everything. Alone. She worked at the same dental office in Waukegan, Illinois for 37 years. 37. I thought she deserved something big, something special. I thought maybe just maybe she'd look at me differently after. Maybe she'd finally be proud of me. Stupid, I know. The week before the party, I barely slept. I was working my job during the day and staying up all night organizing everything. I drove all over Lake County picking up decorations, renting chairs, ordering catering that I ended up canceling because it got too expensive. So I made most of the food myself. Mini quiches, finger sandwiches, 3 different pasta salads, a tower of deviled eggs. I don't even like deviled eggs. But she does. The night before the party, I was up till 4:15 a.m. baking her favorite lemon chiffon cake. My hands were shaking from exhaustion. I remember leaning against the counter at one point, thinking, she's going to love this. The party was held at the old community center off Belvedere Road. I decorated the whole place myself. Balloons, gold streamers, old photos from her career printed and framed, a guest book, a slideshow playing on a rented projector. I even got her favorite oldies band from the VFW to play for 2 hours. It wasn't easy. They're all in their 70s now and grumpy as hell. But they came. People started arriving. Co-workers, cousins, even her old high school friend Carla, who hadn't seen her in 15 years. Everyone seemed impressed. I kept hearing, "Wow, you really went all out," and "Your mom's so lucky to have a daughter like you." I was sweaty, overtired, and probably smelled like vinegar from all the egg salad, but I smiled anyway. I felt proud. Like maybe I was finally doing something right. Around 3 p.m., I was in the kitchen, putting out another tray of sandwiches. I had barely eaten all day. My feet were killing me. That's when I heard it. Her voice. Coming from the hallway just outside the kitchen. I paused, thinking she was looking for me. Then I heard her whisper to my Uncle Pete. "I wish she'd stop trying so hard. She's still a disappointment." Just like that. Sharp. Cold. Like she was saying it about someone she hardly knew. I didn't move. I didn't say anything. I stood there holding that tray of sandwiches, like some idiot in a bad movie. I felt hot all over. Not angry at first. Just humiliated. Uncle Pete said something back. I don't remember what. My ears were ringing. Then she laughed. Not a happy laugh. That mean, dismissive laugh I've heard my whole life. Something in me cracked right then. A quiet, almost invisible break. But it changed everything. I didn't confront her that day. I finished the party like nothing happened. I handed out drinks, smiled in photos, even gave a little speech about how proud I was of her. When I got home that night, I cried harder than I ever had in my life. I sat on my bathroom floor until sunrise, shaking, not even knowing who I was to her. And over the next year, I started pulling away. Not in a dramatic way. I didn't go no contact or yell at her. I just stopped showing up. No more surprise visits. No more driving her to appointments. No more trying to win her over. I started therapy instead. I kept things polite on holidays. But I stopped trying. Then, last spring, she fell. She was getting out of bed, tripped over her slipper, and shattered her hip. Just like that. The hospital called me because I was listed as her emergency contact. I didn't answer right away. Eventually I went. I brought her a robe, her glasses. Sat with her while the nurse explained her rehab schedule. The whole time she barely looked at me. The doctor said she'd need help at home for at least 3 months. So I called everyone. Her siblings. My cousins. Her church friends. The neighbors. Every one of them said no. Some were polite about it, "I'm so sorry, but I just can't commit to that kind of time." Others were blunt, "Not my problem." Even Uncle Pete, the one she whispered to that day, told me, "I'm too old to be a nurse." She had no one else. So guess who stepped in? Me. The daughter who wasn't good enough. I moved her into my spare room. I took her to physical therapy. Cooked her meals. Bathed her. Cleaned her commode. She hated every second of it. And she never said thank you. Not once. But I wasn't doing it for a thank you. I had something else in mind. She moved into my house at the end of April. I had to rearrange my office to make room for her hospital bed. I gave her my new comforter set and spent 2 hours removing trip hazards like throw rugs and floor lamps. She didn't say thank you. She didn't even say much at all. Just sat there with that bitter look on her face, like she was mad at the universe for needing help. Or maybe just mad it was coming from me. I took a leave from work to care for her. At first, I tried to stay focused. Make a schedule. Keep things running smooth. But she made it hard. She complained non-stop. "This food's too bland. Don't put that lotion on my legs, it stinks. Turn the TV down, I can't stand your shows." She'd buzz the call button I installed on her nightstand like she was summoning a damn servant. Never asked, never said please. Just demanded. One night, I brought her tea before bed. She looked at the cup and said, "You used the wrong mug." I snapped. Just a little. I didn't yell. I just said, "It's clean. It holds tea. That's what matters." She stared at me and said, "No wonder you're alone." That one stung. I carried the tea out, dumped it down the sink, and took a walk in the cold just to stop myself from screaming. A few weeks later, she started calling her friends. Not to thank them or chat. To gossip. Loudly. From her room. I don't know why she's playing Florence Nightingale. She's not cut out for this. I swear she's doing this just for attention. She still thinks she can make me proud. She doesn't get it. That ship sailed years ago. I never told her I heard. I just kept cleaning her bedpans and warming her meals, quiet as a ghost. But something inside me was changing. I started keeping a little notebook. Not for revenge. Not at first. Just to document. Dates, times, things she said. I don't even know why I started doing it. Maybe I wanted proof. For myself. For someone else later. I didn't know yet. The turning point came in late June. She had a fall again. A small one. Just slid off the couch trying to grab the remote. I helped her up, checked her for bruises. She was fine. But while I was helping her back onto the couch, she hissed under her breath, "You're so weak. No wonder your father left." My stomach dropped. My dad didn't leave. He died. Heart attack when I was 12. And she knew damn well that was the worst day of my life. That night, after she fell asleep, I sat in my car and cried so hard I nearly threw up. My hands were shaking. My face felt hot. And in that moment, I made a decision. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to storm out. No. I was going to take everything she handed me, and I was going to use it. One way or another, I was going to make her face who she really was. And it started with that notebook. I made a news section, things she'd never want others to know. And I started writing. That notebook became something else entirely. It wasn't just for rants anymore. I started digging through old drawers, boxes, files. Anything that might hold a piece of her truth. I found letters from her old job. Turns out she didn't retire by choice. She was pushed out. One letter from her office manager hinted at complaints from patients, something about her tone, how she spoke to them. Another mentioned an incident with a younger hygienist that almost cost the clinic a lawsuit. She never told anyone that. I kept going. I remembered a family story, how she raised me alone. But while going through some boxes in the attic, I found court paperwork. Custody records. Child support checks she never cashed from my dad's estate. I had never seen them before. Turns out she wasn't alone. She just didn't let anyone help. Not even her own sisters. Worse? She applied for survivor benefits in my name when I was 13, and spent it on herself. Vacations. Jewelry. There were receipts, bank statements. All of it. That part hit hard. She used my grief to fund her lifestyle. And that wasn't all. I found her old journal spirals hidden in the back of a cabinet in my guest room, the one she used before the fall. And in them, I read about how she felt raising me was a waste. That I was needy and too soft. She wrote about lying to my teachers. About hiding gifts from relatives so I wouldn't get spoiled. She wrote, she reminds me too much of my sister. Weak and emotional. Nothing good ever comes from that. I started making copies. I scanned the letters, photographed the journal pages, documented the old medical bills and forms. I stored it all on a hard drive I kept hidden in the bottom of a cereal box in the back of my kitchen pantry. By July, she was starting to walk with a cane. Her recovery was slow, but she wanted her freedom back. "You can relax soon," she said one day, not looking at me. "I'll be moving back home in August." I nodded and smiled. But inside, I was planning something else. She had always loved her church group. The women's circle. They were the only people she ever really tried to impress. She once told me, "They're the only ones who matter. Friends come and go, but respect? That's earned." So I started going to the meetings. Quietly. Saying I wanted to get involved. Help out. Be a better part of the community. They welcomed me fast. "Your mom always talks about you," they said. I nodded and smiled. I never corrected them. I became useful. I helped organize their August potluck. I offered to collect stories for the church newsletter. And little by little, I slipped pieces of truth into what I shared. Not directly. But enough. At the potluck, I made sure her former coworkers saw the letter about her forced retirement. I put it in the memory table I set up under the title, Her Legacy. Someone even took a picture of it and posted it online. At the church newsletter meeting, I handed out a reflection page, with quotes from past members. Mixed in was one from her journal. "Weakness breeds disappointment." I know I raised it. Nobody knew it was hers. But she did. When she saw it in the newsletter the following Sunday, she lost it. She screamed at me in front of 3 of the women from her prayer circle. "You did this. You're trying to ruin me." I didn't say a word. I just looked at her and asked, why would I do that to my own mother? They didn't know what to believe. And that was the point. I wanted her to feel exactly what I had felt all those years. Alone. Confused. Like maybe you're the problem, or maybe you're not. Like maybe the people you trusted don't really see you at all. After the church newsletter incident, she stopped talking to me unless she had to. Meals were silent. Appointments were tense. Every time she looked at me, her eyes burned with hate. But she didn't dare say anything in front of others anymore. Not since her image had started to crumble. Word got around. The woman who had always been respected, admired, even was now whispered about behind covered mouths in the church lobby. Her friends started pulling away. She stopped getting phone calls. At first, she blamed me. Of course she did. But the truth was, all I had done was hold up a mirror. By the time August rolled around, she was well enough to leave. She packed quietly, refused help. She wouldn't look me in the eye. Her ride showed up some acquaintance from the church who still hadn't caught on, and she left without saying goodbye. I thought that would be the end of it. It wasn't. 3 weeks later, I got a letter from a lawyer. She was suing me, claiming I had publicly defamed her and manipulated church materials to purposely damage her reputation. I couldn't believe it. I wasn't rich. I didn't have money to fight a lawsuit. But I wasn't scared either. I gathered every page of that notebook. Every photo, every scanned journal entry, the receipts, the letters, the survivor benefits paperwork, all of it. I handed it to my lawyer and said, "This is who she really is." And when she saw that I was ready to bring everything to court, she dropped the case. But the damage was done. Not to me. To her. The church leadership asked her to step back indefinitely. Her name was quietly removed from the bulletin board. Her ladies' circle disbanded. Too much drama. Too many questions. She had spent years building that identity. And in a few months, it all crumbled. The last time I saw her was at the grocery store, around Thanksgiving. She was limping, holding a basket with canned yams and instant potatoes. Alone. She saw me. Our eyes met. She looked smaller somehow. Not just physically. Like a balloon that had been leaking for months and finally gave up trying to hold shape. I walked past her without saying a word. I've made peace with it now. I know I'm not perfect. I know I should have walked away sooner. I know I held on to hope too long. But in the end, I didn't scream. I didn't throw punches. I didn't become her. I just showed her the truth. And sometimes, that's the cruelest revenge of all. Because now, she gets to live with it.